The year 1948 marked the dawn of a legend, the birth of Porsche as an automaker, with the unveiling of the Porsche 356, a car that would lay the foundation for one of the most iconic sports car brands in history. Crafted in a humble sawmill-turned-workshop in Gmund, Austria, the 356 was the brainchild of Ferry Porsche, who sought to create a lightweight, agile sports car that embodied his father Ferdinand Porsche's engineering brilliance. Unlike the heavy, lumbering vehicles of the post-war era, the 356 was designed with a focus on simplicity, performance, and driving pleasure. Its rear-mounted 1.1L air-cooled flat-4 engine, borrowed from Volkswagen but heavily modified, produced a modest 40 horsepower, hardly impressive by today's standards, but revolutionary for its time. What it lacked in brute power, it made up for in balance, aerodynamics, and handling precision, making it a joy to drive on winding roads. The body, hand-formed from aluminum, was sleek and curvaceous, a stark contrast to the boxy designs of the 1940s. Only 52 units of the original Gmund coupe were built, making them some of the rarest and most valuable Porsches today. The 356 wasn't just a car, it was a statement. It proved that a small, independent manufacturer could compete with established giants by prioritizing innovation and driver engagement. By the early 1950s, Porsche began shifting production to Stuttgart, Germany, and introduced steel-bodied versions, making the 356 more accessible. The 356 Speedster, launched in 1954, became a sensation in the USA, particularly in California, where its minimalist design, removable windshield, no roof, and bucket seats made it a favorite among Hollywood stars and weekend racers. The Speedster's success in America was crucial. It established Porsche as a cult brand among enthusiasts who valued driving purity over sheer horsepower. Meanwhile, Porsche's racing division was already making waves, with the 356 scoring class wins at prestigious events like the 24 Hours of Le Mans, proving that this little sports car could punch above its weight. What made the 356 truly special was its mechanical honesty. No unnecessary gadgets, just a direct connection between driver and machine. The steering was unassisted, the gearbox required precision, and the engine's air-cooled growl was raw and unfiltered. Driving a 356 wasn't about luxury. It was about the thrill of the drive, a philosophy that still defines Porsche today. By the time production ended in 1965, over 76,000 units had been built, cementing the 350 SAX's place in automotive history. But perhaps its greatest legacy was setting the stage for its successor, the Porsche 911, a car that would take the world by storm and become the heartbeat of the brand. The 356 may have been Porsche's first car, but it was far from a trial run. It was a masterpiece that proved greatness often starts small. The 1950s marked Porsche's transformation from a small automaker into a motorsport powerhouse, proving that engineering brilliance could overcome limited resources. This decade saw the birth of some of Porsche's most legendary race cars, beginning with the Porsche 550 Spyder in 1953, a car so dominant it became synonymous with Porsche's racing DNA. Designed specifically for competition, the 550 was lightweight, just 1,100 pounds, and featured a mid-mounted 1.5L flat-4 engine producing 110 horsepower, an unconventional layout at the time that gave it superior balance. Its sleek aerodynamic aluminum body, crafted by coach builder Wendler, sliced through the air with minimal resistance, making it unbeatable on twisty circuits. The 550's racing debut at the 1953 Nürburgring was a statement. It didn't just compete, it dominated, securing a class win and announcing Porsche as a serious contender. But the 550's legacy wasn't just built on victories. It was cemented by tragedy and pop culture. In 1955, Hollywood icon James Dean purchased a 550 Spyder, nicknaming it the Little Bastard. His fatal crash in the car just weeks later immortalized the 550 in American folklore, turning it into a symbol of rebellion and speed. Meanwhile, on the track, the 550 kept winning, claiming victories at the Carrera Panamericana and Targa Florio, races known for their brutal conditions. Porsche's success wasn't limited to the 550. The 356 Speedster, stripped down for racing, became a favorite among privateers in the U.S., particularly in SCCA, Sports Car Club of America events. Its affordability, around $3,000, and tunability made it a common sight at amateur races, further embedding Porsche into American motorsport culture. The late 1950s saw Porsche push even further with the 718 RSK, an evolution of the 550 with a more powerful 1.6L engine and improved chassis. The RSK's crowning achievement came at the 1958 24 Hours of Le Mans, where it secured an overall third-place finish, unheard of for a small displacement car competing against giants like Ferrari and Aston Martin. This era also introduced the Porsche 356A Carrera, equipped with a Furman engine, a high-revving 1.5L DOHC power plant derived from a 550. The Carrera became a street-legal race car, blurring the line between road and track, a philosophy Porsche would refine for decades. Behind the scenes, Porsche's racing success was fueled by relentless innovation. Engineers like Hans Mesger, who later designed the 911's iconic flat six, began their careers in this era, experimenting with weight distribution, aerodynamics, and engine tuning. The 550 and 718's mid-engine layout, though abandoned for production cars at the time, would reappear in future legends like the Boxster and Carrera GT. By the decade's end, Porsche had proven that precision and ingenuity could trump horsepower, a lesson that would define the brand's approach to performance. The 1950s also saw Porsche's first flirtation with the American market on a large scale. The 356 Speedster, with its low windshield and cut-down doors, became a staple of California's burgeoning car culture, driven by stars like Steve McQueen and James Dean. Ads in U.S. magazines touted the Speedster as the everyday sports car, appealing to buyers who wanted excitement without extravagance. Dealerships sprang up in major cities, laying the groundwork for Porsche's later stateside dominance. As the 1960s dawned, Porsche stood at a crossroads. The 356 was aging, and competitors were catching up. But the lessons of the 1950s, lightweight construction, balanced handling, and racing pedigree, would soon culminate in a car that would redefine sports cars forever, the Porsche 911. The 1960s marked Porsche's most pivotal decade, the birth of the 911, a car that would not only define the brand, but reshape the entire sports car landscape. When the 911 debuted at the 1963 Frankfurt Motor Show, internally called the 901 before Peugeot's naming objection, it wasn't just an evolution of the 356, it was a revolution wrapped in a timeless silhouette. Designed by Ferdinand Butzi Porsche, the grandson of the company founder, the 911 featured a 2.0L air-cooled flat-six engine mounted rebelliously over the rear axle, producing 130 horsepower, a 60% power increase over the 356. Critics doubted the rear engine layout, but Porsche's engineers turned physics into an art form. The 911's secret wasn't raw power, it was balance. The lightweight body, just 2,300 pounds, near-perfect weight distribution, and telepathic steering created a driving experience so visceral that even today, vintage 911s command cult-like devotion. America's love affair with the 911 began immediately. The U.S. spec models arrived in 1965 with reinforced bumpers and smog pumps to meet regulations, but purists still coveted their mechanical purity. Early adopters were often doctors, lawyers, and architects, affluent professionals who appreciated the 911's dual personality. A civilized commuter by day, corner carving beast by weekend. The cabin was Spartan by modern standards, no airbags, no ABS, just a thin-rimmed steering wheel and analog gauges. But that simplicity became its charm. By 1966, Porsche introduced the 911S, with a 160 horsepower engine and Fuchs alloy wheels, further cementing its performance credentials. Meanwhile, the racing world took notice. Privateers began modifying 911s for events like the Monte Carlo Rally, where their durability shocked competitors. But the 911 wasn't Porsche's only 1960s milestone. The 904 Carrera GTS 1964 blended street-legal practicality with race-ready performance, featuring a glass fiber body and a flat-four engine derived from the 356. Then came the 911R 1967, An ultra-lightweight homologation special, with a 210 horsepower engine and magnesium body panels. Only 20 were built, making them today's million-dollar collectibles. This era also saw Porsche's first flirtation with mid-engine layouts in the 914-1969, a collaboration with Volkswagen that divided enthusiasts but expanded Porsche's market reach. The 911's survival wasn't guaranteed. Early models were notorious for snap-over-steer, dubbed the Widowmaker by critics, a handling quirk caused by the rear weight bias. But instead of abandoning the layout, Porsche engineered the challenge into a trademark. By decade's end, innovations like all-wheel independent suspension and mechanical fuel injection in the 911E refined the 911's behavior. The 1960s closed with Porsche at a crossroads. The 911 had critics, but it also had something no competitor could match: a soul. The 1970s marked Porsche's audacious leap from sports cars to supercar slayer, defined by one revolutionary technology: turbocharging. This decade saw Porsche defy the oil crisis and tightening emissions laws by engineering some of the most exhilarating performance cars ever built. Beginning with the 1975 Porsche 911 Turbo 930, the car that redefined what a production sports car could be. Under its iconic whale-tail rear spoiler lurked a 3.0L turbocharged flat-six, pumping out 260 horsepower, making it the fastest production car in Germany at the time. The 930 wasn't just powerful, it was raw, unpredictable, and intoxicating. Turbo lag was brutal. Full boost didn't hit until 4,000 RPM, and the rear engine weight distribution made it a handful at the limit. But that was the point. The 911 Turbo demanded skill and respect, forging a reputation as the ultimate driver's car. In America, it became a status symbol for the bold Wall Street traders, rock stars, and renegade collectors who craved its explosive acceleration, 0 to 60 miles per hour in 5.2 seconds, and menacing wide-body stance. But the 930 was just the beginning. Porsche's racing division was simultaneously unleashing the 935, a fire-breathing monster that dominated Le Mans, Daytona, and the World Sports Car Championship. With its twin-turbocharged flat-six, eventually tuned to 800-plus horsepower in race trim, and radical aerodynamic modifications, the 935 wasn't just a race car. It was a rolling laboratory for turbo technology. Privateer teams like Interscope Racing and JLP Racing further pushed the boundaries, creating 1,400 horsepower monsters for the IMSA series. The 935's success wasn't just about wins. It proved turbocharging wasn't a gimmick, it was the future. Meanwhile, Porsche surprised purists with the front-engine 928 1977, a V8 powered GT car intended to replace the 911. Its 4.5L alloy engine, advanced transaxle layout, and futuristic pop-up headlights showcased Porsche's engineering range, but enthusiasts rejected its departure from tradition. The 928 found niche success in America as a high-speed grand tourer, but the 911's cult following ensured its survival. The real game-changer, however, was a 1973 Porsche 911 Carrera RS 2.7, a lightweight homologation special built to qualify the 911 for racing. Its 2.7L flat-six, producing 210 horsepower, and ducktail spoiler made it an instant classic. The RS was lighter, louder, and sharper than any production 911 before it, a street-legal race car that previewed the GT3 ethos. Only 1,580 were made, and today they trade for seven-figure sums. By the late 1970s, Porsche faced a crossroads. Emissions regulations threatened the air-cooled engine, and competitors like Ferrari were embracing modernity. But instead of retreating, Porsche doubled down on turbocharging, setting the stage for the 1980s hypercar wars. The 930 Turbo's legacy wasn't just speed, it was a declaration that Porsche would never follow trends. It would set them. The 1980s nearly broke Porsche, but instead, they birthed the most technologically advanced car of the decade while fighting for survival. This was the era when Porsche went from bankruptcy candidate to engineering pioneer, culminating in the 1986 Porsche 959, a car so advanced it embarrassed Ferrari and Lamborghini. The 959 wasn't just a supercar, it was a rolling supercomputer, featuring innovations like all-wheel drive, adjustable suspension, and a twin-turbocharged 2.8L flat-six, pumping out 450 horsepower, enough to hit 197 miles per hour, making it the fastest production car in the world. Its Kevlar-reinforced body and digital dashboard, a first for Porsche, felt like science fiction. Only 337 units were built, primarily to meet Group B homologation rules, but its legacy was immense. The 959's tech trickled down to every modern Porsche, from the 911 Turbo to the Cayenne. In America, the 959 became a forbidden fruit due to emissions laws, forcing enthusiasts like Bill Gates and Jerry Seinfeld to lobby Congress for a show and display exemption, proving its mythical status. But the 959's brilliance masked Porsche's financial turmoil. By 1987, slumping sales, due to the strong Deutsche Mark and U.S. import taxes, pushed Porsche to the brink. The 911 G Series, once America's favorite sports car, was aging, and the front-engine 944 and 928, though competent, couldn't fill the gap. Porsche's response? Double down on racing. The 956-962 dominated Le Mans, winning 6 times between 1982 to 1987, while the 953 won the 1984 Paris-Dakar Rally, proving Porsche's engineering worked anywhere, from the Mulsanne Strait to the Sahara. The road car division fought back with special editions to lure collectors. The 911 Carrera 3.2 Speedster 1989, with its cut-down windshield and retro styling, became an instant classic, while the 944 Turbo delivered 247 horsepower, enough to humble contemporary Corvettes. But the real surprise was the 1988 Porsche 911 964, the first major 911 overhaul in 15 years. It introduced all-wheel drive Carrera 4, ABS, and a new 3.6L engine, dragging the 911 into the modern era without losing its soul. By decade's end, Porsche was bruised but alive. The lessons were clear. Innovation could save them, but tradition was their lifeline. The 959's tech would fuel future models, while the 911's evolution proved that even legends needed updates. The stage was set for the 1990s, the last stand of air-cooled greatness. The 1990s nearly killed Porsche, and then saved it through one of the most dramatic reinventions in automotive history. This decade opened with Porsche selling just 3,728 cars in North America during 1993, down from 30,000 plus in 1986, teetering on bankruptcy's edge. Yet it closed with Porsche, creating what many consider the greatest air-cooled 911 ever made, the 993, while simultaneously preparing to abandon the technology that defined it for half a century. The tension between tradition and survival became Porsche's defining struggle. The 1993 Porsche 911 993 arrived as both a swan song and revolution. Its new multi-link rear suspension finally tamed the 911's infamous rear-engine handling quirks, while the redesigned 3.6L air-cooled flat-six, 272 horsepower in Carrera trim, sang with mechanical purity. The 993's voluptuous body, wider, smoother, yet unmistakably 911, hid secret innovations like aluminum control arms and ventilated disc brakes. For driving enthusiasts, the 1995 911 GT2, 430 horsepower, became an instant legend. Its twin-turbocharged Fury barely contained by rear-wheel drive, a widowmaker for the modern era. Meanwhile, the Targa reinvented itself with a sliding glass roof, and the Turbo debuted its iconic variable vane turbos, technology so effective it's still used today. But Porsche's most radical 1990s creation wasn't a 911. It was the 1996 Porsche 911 GT1, a street-legal race car built solely to homologate Porsche's Le Mans contender. With its mid-mounted 3.2L twin-turbo flat-six, 600-plus HP, and carbon fiber body, the GT1 cost $912,000. Asterisk operator. Asterisk operator. O-V-E-R. Asterisk operator. Asterisk operator. $912,000 asterisk operator. over operator 1.7 million today, and could hit 235 miles per hour. Only 25 road versions existed, making them today's ultimate Porsche unicorns. Behind the scenes, crisis loomed. Development costs for the 993's replacement, the water-cooled 996, were bleeding Porsche dry. The solution came from an unlikely savior, Toyota. Porsche's engineers studied Toyota's production methods, slashing costs while theoretically maintaining quality. The controversial decision to share parts between the 996 and entry-level Boxster, like headlights and interior switches, horrified purists, but saved the company. When the final air-cooled 911 rolled off the line in 1998, it marked the end of an era, but also the beginning of Porsche's most improbable comeback. The 1990s proved Porsche could evolve without losing its soul. The 993 perfected air cooling just as Porsche abandoned it, while the GT1 showed how extreme the brand could dream. As the millennium turned, Porsche stood at a crossroads: embrace water cooling and mass appeal, or risk becoming a relic. The choice would redefine the brand for the 21st century. The 2000s began with Porsche facing extinction and ended with the unlikeliest of saviors, an SUV. When Porsche unveiled the Cayenne in 2002, purists revolted. How could a company built on lightweight sports cars stoop to building a 5,000-pound V8 SUV? But the Cayenne wasn't just a compromise, it was a masterstroke. Developed alongside Volkswagen, sharing the Touareg's platform but with Porsche-tuned everything, the Cayenne Turbo arrived with a 4.5L twin-turbo V8, 450 horsepower, and performance credentials that humbled sports cars. It could tow 7,700 pounds, climb off-road trails, and still hit 60 miles per hour in 5.0 seconds, faster than a contemporary 911 Carrera. The gamble worked. By 2006, the Cayenne accounted for over 50% of Porsche's global sales, rescuing the company from financial ruin. The profits funded Porsche's return to supercar glory. The 2004 Carrera GT, a 605 horsepower V10 monster with a carbon fiber chassis and a manual transmission, the last analog hypercar. Its 5.7L naturally aspirated V10, originally developed for F1, screamed to 8,400 RPM, while its ceramic clutch made it notoriously difficult to drive. Just 1,270 were built, and today they trade for $2 million plus. Meanwhile, the 911-996, despite its controversial fried egg headlights, proved water cooling wasn't sacrilege. The 2001 Turbo 996 introduced all-wheel drive and variable vane turbos, while the GT3 1999 became the ultimate track weapon. By 2004, the 911-997 arrived, restoring round headlights and winning back purists. The decade closed with Porsche making history again, taking control of Volkswagen in a dramatic corporate coup. The once struggling sports car maker was now a global powerhouse. The 2010s saw Porsche rewrite the rules of performance, proving that hybrid tech and electric power could be more thrilling than gasoline alone. The decade's defining car wasn't just a Porsche, it was a statement to the world. The 2013 918 Spyder. This 887 horsepower hybrid hypercar combined a 4.6 LV8 with electric motors at each axle, achieving 0 to 60 miles per hour in 2.2 seconds, while sipping fuel at 67 miles per gallon, in theory. Its YSAC package, adding magnesium wheels and stripped-out interior, shaved weight to just 3,616 pounds, and its 6:57 Nürburgring lap time, a record in 2013, silenced critics who doubted hybrid performance. Only 918 units were built, each costing $845,000, but their legacy was priceless. The 918's tech would trickle down to every future Porsche. While the 918 grabbed headlines, Porsche's real revolution was brewing elsewhere. Electric mobility. The Mission E concept 2015 previewed Porsche's EV future, and by 2019, it became the Taycan, the first electric Porsche. With 750 horsepower in Turbo S trim, 800-volt architecture for ultra-fast charging, and a 2.6-second 0 to 60 miles per hour time, the Taycan proved EVs could be true Porsches. Its regenerative braking system even mimicked downshifting in a PDK transmission, a brilliant touch for petrolheads. But Porsche didn't abandon combustion. The 911 991.2 2016 went turbocharged across the board, even in base Carreras, while the GT2 RS 2017 became the most powerful 911 ever. 700 horsepower rear-wheel drive and a Nürburgring lap record, 6 minutes and 47.3 seconds. Meanwhile, the Macan 2014 and Panamera Sport Turismo 2017 expanded Porsche's reach without diluting its performance DNA. The decade closed with Porsche dominant in motorsports, too. The 919 Hybrid dominated Le Mans 2015 to 2017, and its tech-influenced road cars. By 2019, Porsche announced its Formula E entry, signaling where performance was headed. The 2010s proved Porsche could innovate without compromise, whether through hybrid hypercars or all-electric sedans. The message was clear: the future would be electric, but it would still be Porsche. The 2020s are proving to be Porsche's most radical transformation yet, a decade where the roar of flat-six engines harmonizes with the hum of electric motors, and sustainability becomes as crucial as speed. At the heart of this revolution is the Taycan, Porsche's first all-electric series production car, which has shattered every preconception about what an EV can be. The 2020 Taycan Turbo S stunned the automotive world with 750 horsepower, 2.6 second 0 to 60 miles per hour acceleration, and a 161 miles per hour top speed, numbers that embarrassed many gasoline-powered supercars. But raw stats only tell half the story. The Taycan's 800-volt architecture, a Porsche innovation, allows 270 kilowatts fast charging, adding 60 miles of range in just 4 minutes, while its 2-speed transmission on the rear axle mimics the visceral thrill of gear changes in a traditional sports car. Yet Porsche's electric ambitions extend far beyond the Taycan. The 2023 Macan EV marks the brand's next major EV push, built on Porsche's new premium platform electric PPE architecture, co-developed with Audi. Early prototypes promise over 600 horsepower and 300-plus miles of range, wrapped in the Macan's signature, sleek SUV styling. Even more tantalizing is the 2025 electric Boxster/Cayenne, codenamed Project 718, which aims to preserve the mid-engine dynamics of its gasoline forebears through strategic battery placement and lightweight construction. But Porsche isn't abandoning combustion enthusiasts. The 911 992 generation continues to evolve, with the 2022 911 GT3 featuring a 9,000 RPM, 502 horsepower, naturally aspirated flat-six, one of the last great analog engines. The 2023 911 Dakar brought off-road capability to the 911 for the first time, while the hybrid 911, expected 2024, will blend electrification with rear-engine tradition. Perhaps most intriguing is Porsche's work with synthetic fuels, e-fuels. The company invested $100 million in HIF Global to develop carbon-neutral fuel, with testing already underway in Porsche's Super Cup race cars. This technology could keep classic air-cooled 911s on the road indefinitely while reducing emissions, a potential game-changer for purists. The decade's most dramatic statement came with the 2023 Mission X concept, a hypothetical electric hypercar that could debut by 2027. With Le Mans-inspired doors, a 1-to-1 power-to-weight ratio, and charging speeds twice as fast as the Taycan, the Mission X previews Porsche's electric performance future. As Porsche navigates this transitional decade, one thing remains clear: performance is non-negotiable. Whether powered by electrons or e-fuels, every future Porsche will deliver the driving magic that has defined the brand for 75 years. The 2020s aren't the end of an era. They're the beginning of Porsche's most exciting chapter yet.